So, finding the grain line. And then you want to mark up the pattern and cut out with scissors. Or use a rotary cutter. Which probably also definitely isn't something you should be doing with a baby. But with instructions and some care for the baby, not for pattern or fabric, because God forbid. And I got one of those lovely calm babies, so we've got like half a bra. And I'm gonna cut out the other one. And ideally you want to minimize the amount of fabric that you use, so you can use your fabric for more projects. Because more projects is more to do, more fun. So if there are any markings on your pattern, you want to trace those to the wrong side of the fabric. And this one is supposed to be placed on a fold, so that edge goes against the fold. Then I'll just place something on there. I don't have an actual pattern weight, and this is a little bit big to use. I will get around to getting myself some pattern weights, but that will have to wait. And then I'm gonna take my rotary cutter and I'm just gonna cut all the way around. Also, you don't want to have your hands in front of your rotary cutter when you're cutting. I've seen some rather unsettling pictures of rotary cutter accidents. And we're moving pattern piece. Moving this little piece that we cut off. And sometimes it is kind of hard to get the corners, so then I just use my fabric scissors. And I can see marks where I didn't quite cut through, so I'm just gonna cut in those. So now I got both of my pattern pieces. Both were cut on the fold. Now I'm not gonna add lace to this, because obviously we're not really going for pretty or sexy. So I'm just gonna zigzag the edge and then fold it down a little bit and top stitch it. Now I'm just gonna test this pattern. So I don't really care what thread is in there, because I, as I said, don't need it to be pretty. I just need it to be functional. Now, this is quite possibly the worst seam I've ever done. Of course that happens when I'm on camera. And then I'm just gonna fold it down about 1/2 inch. And pin it, if I can find pins. Then I'm just going to use an elastic stitch and stitch this down. I am improvising as always. This much. But before I cut anything, I'm gonna try to fit around my body to see how I like it. And I don't. Really don't. Just wrapping it around underneath my bust, making the ends meet, and checking how I like to fit. So I added 5 centimeters, that's about 2 inches. And it tells me to put it on the right side, but I'm not using a decorative one, so I'm gonna go with the wrong side. I think it'll be fine, even though I made it a bit longer. I didn't stretch it quite enough. Maybe it will be fine anyways. You never know. So my camera died, so I had to borrow my partner's, because he has one of those infinite batteries, which probably is a good thing to have. So now I'm gonna fold the elastic over. Actually, I kind of liked it the way it was now. I mean, the edges are a bit raw, but I don't think anyone will ever see that. I'm not one to walk around in my underwear. So I am once again gonna fold it up 1/2 inch. Well, make sure those seams also are facing the same side on the bottom and the top. So to make a mock-up is a very good thing if you have expensive material, because then you can check the fit and the size, and if you need to make any alterations you can do it on the mock-up and then just either trace it onto your pattern or cut it up after you made the adjustments and use it as your pattern. I wasn't exactly planning on using expensive materials for this, but I actually don't have any of the materials, and therefore I thought that it would be a better idea to just make a mock-up in the kind of fabric that I wanted to use, and then see if I like the fit of it, because I do not like stuff sitting tightly over my ribs. But I would also like my earbeers not to be freezing during winter, and well, it's winter outside and they are freezing. So I've pinned the last raw edge and I'm gonna sew it. Well, that didn't want to cooperate. Guess we'll start a little ways in and just go over it again at the end. I mean, it's not the prettiest, but I think it'll do. Now, I will not be doing the standard bra straps either, because obviously I'm not one for doing things the way that you should. So I'm gonna try this on, and then I'm gonna measure from here around my back down to here to see how long I need my straps to be. because I'm making non-adjustable straps. Now to do this, seeing as it can be a bit hard to measure things on yourself, I'm gonna just use a piece of string and then I cut it off. Now I could either measure my string, see how long it is. It's approximately 47 centimeters long. Don't ask me what that is in inches. Actually, it's about 18 3/4 of an inch. I'm gonna put my shirt on of my half-finished bra. I make the straps so I don't have to freeze my butt off. Or, not my butt, but you get the idea. So then I'll move my sewing machine. Now, I don't actually want my straps to stretch all that much. So I'm gonna have the length go with the grain. If I can find a good way to do this. I think I want to do it from this side. So I need my measuring tape. I mean, I could use my cutting mat because it has measurements, but I prefer to use my measuring tape. So the first thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take my piece of string, I'm gonna put it against the edge up there, to there, and then I want to add probably about 5 centimeters, you know, to really make sure that it will fit, be the right length. And then I want to unroll the edges and measure 4 centimeters. And now I'm just being stupid because I need 2 straps, so I'm gonna put one mark at 4 centimeters and one at 8 centimeters. So I want to measure 4 centimeters and 8 centimeters because I need 2 strings. Make sure that I have my mark there. And put another one down there. And roll the edge. I'm gonna one last time measure distance from there to there. And if you're like me and you have cords everywhere, make sure that you're not running over any of them. Now if you have one of those quilting rulers, that will be even easier. I don't. So I'm using a normal ruler. And I missed a bit in the corner. That one is just a little bit. I prefer to use my scissors. Before anyone says anything, yes, I managed to kill a succulent. It had it coming, obviously. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna iron these so that they become a little bit flatter. This one's fairly okay. This one was the edge and it is a lovely little tube. Not really into that. And then I'm gonna fold them in half, right side out, and then I'm gonna fold them in half. And hopefully come out with some lovely straps. Worst case scenario, I will have to cut another strap for this one. One strap being rather flat. I'm gonna try to not boil my fingers in steam. Second one doesn't want to lie flat. It's no longer a tight roll either, so I'm just gonna turn down the steam, match up the edges. Iron a little bit. Match up the edges. Now it is important that you get a good crease going and you don't want to iron over that crease again, because you want to know what it is and you're gonna use it later. So then what you do is that you put the fabric up against the edge and iron it towards the crease, and then you're gonna do the same thing for the other side. Just gonna show you there because my camera keeps complaining that it's getting too hot. I don't know, one would think that working near an iron is a hot job, and then you'll simply fold it over itself and then we'll sew. So it's folded in half, then both sides to the middle and back to the original fold. And then you could give it another iron just to really set it. And then you'll sew along the edge and you'll have 2 straps. Granted, you make it to the other one as well, otherwise you'll have 1 strap and something. Now, hopefully you have 2 nice flat straps that are consistent of 4 layers. Looks like this if you unfold it. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna sew close to the edge on this side, all along the straps, both straps. Now I'm gonna use a normal straight stitch because I'm not expecting this to be very stretched. Now, this is much easier to do with the woven fabric because knits tend to stretch and distort a little bit. But what I've done in the past while making straps for things with this is that I have given it a second pass over with the iron and it usually straightens out. And I'm thinking that if it doesn't, I don't think it will be noticeable anyway while wearing it, because that's the kind of optimistic person that I am. Of course, the one time where I go annoyingly fast, my thread dies. So I guess we'll just start from the beginning. There, 2 straps, I'm gonna give them a bit of an iron. Now I've ironed them, and as you can see they are a good bit straighter. Now I'm not gonna pin this because I feel like I have a fairly good eye for where things should go. That's 1 bra strap. Now this could have been done later if I had the energy to pin it, but I am not a smart person. Now I'm gonna put a pin in the center back. Not rocket science. And I'm gonna check for the pattern, how far apart bands are supposed to go. I just realized that I was supposed to sew the bands on the inside, but that sounds uncomfortable, so we're going with the outside. This has got to be way too long. Put a little marking. I can take the pin out and try it on. Now I tried it on, and as you're sewing the knit fabric it stretches a bit, so it actually got almost 9 centimeters longer. What? No, 18 centimeters longer. which isn't great. I'm usually doing this to bag straps and then I'm using woven. So there's a reason I didn't backstitch, and that is exactly it. If I would have been smart, I would have basted it on there instead of actually sewing it on. But there's like a tiny optimist in me that was like, no, it'll be fine. You got this. Which, you know, obviously not. So, from there, there is about 6 centimeters. And from there to there is 3.5. So I am going to measure, and accounting for stretch, I'm gonna go with 22. Now I'm gonna mark this. Take my lovely little pins out. 4 pins. This looks way more right. But just to be certain, I'm gonna pin both the straps. Before I do that, I should measure from where it's folded. There, it's 29.5. Then I should measure from there. There should be also 29.5. Unless I did something wrong again. Now we're going over it again. Measure twice, cut once and all that. So now I'm gonna carefully put it on because it's full of needles and I don't want those in me. So carefully and try it for the size. Now that was actually perfect. So I'm gonna sew down on top and on the bottom. Like so. Normally you'd do it to the inside, but seeing as I'm not actually using elastic that is made for this, it adds a little bit of bulk. And I am one of those people that loves my things to be comfortable, and that sounds uncomfortable. So it goes on the outside, and I'm gonna call it a design element. Not quite sure when I ran out of spool thread, but I don't think it matters, because I went over each strap 3 times, which is essential backstitching taken to a whole new level. There and back again probably would have been enough. Yes, I am a nerd. Now I'm just gonna cut off all of the threads, because I don't know about you, but I am ticklish and I do not like threads tickling me all over the place when I'm wearing my clothes. Now, I probably should have zigzagged these edges too. I did order a serger on Black Friday, or rather an overlock, because that's what we call it here. Now, if you wanted to do a serious mock-up, you would use the same elastics and kinds of fabrics stretch-wise. I am, as always, now full of threads. Snip these edges right along the bottom edge. And I am finished. So let me try it on. Now my top is actually rather see-through, so I guess that I can show off the bralette without having to take my clothes off. It actually fits perfectly. And yeah, no, it might not be the best look with the rather see-through linen shirt and a very kids fabric bralette, but I do love this one. So in my plans for the future is to buy some proper fabric for this and some of the nice elastics and make some bras for myself. Now I am gonna wear this for a while and make sure that I do not have the same problem with it as with the other bras that I never wear, the ready-to-wear ones that I've bought. I've been wearing it for a little while now while talking to my partner. It took him a while to figure out what I had done. He was like, "It's your shirt." I'm like, no honey, I had this for over a year. Well, it's not the socks. Did you make the pants? Like, no, I am not making tights. I have no clue how to make the feet. I ended up just pulling my shirt up because, guys, am I right? So, he knows that I hate wearing bras because I find them really uncomfortable. I was like, but is it more comfortable? And I was like, yeah, so much. So I can definitely recommend this pattern if you're like me, and then, you know, lengthen the elastic that goes under your bust a little bit. It is very comfortable, and I will be buying the materials to make a proper one in some prettier fabric, maybe add a bit of lace. But yes, this has been the Hyacinth bralette from Ohhh Lulu. It's quite the name. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to today. And I will edit this video and then I'll go to bed and sleep. It's actually about an hour later than my usual deadline for when I have to stop filming to have time to edit and upload it before midnight. But hopefully it will be a quick edit, because I don't think I have messed up my words and positions and sewings all that much today. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.